So for the past 6 months or so, the real estate market has been a little weird, with buyers and sellers a little confused about the market due to everything that the national news is saying about the market. But the news is talking about the national real estate market. So let's take a look at this Forbes article and we can compare and analyze how this article compares to Pennsylvania and more specifically the Philadelphia metro market. Hey there, I'm Corey Benhart, your Pennsylvania realtor. I specialize in helping people just like you move to the great state of Pennsylvania to find their perfect home. All of my contact information is below. All right, let's get started. So here's the Forbes article titled Housing Market Predictions for 2023. Are home prices finally becoming affordable? This article mentions the median existing home sales price was down 0.2% in February compared to a year ago. This ends a record streak of 131 consecutive months of year-over-year increases. So comparing that national data to Pennsylvania, we can see here that the data shows that the median price in all of Pennsylvania went up 2% instead of actually decreasing. If we look more specifically at the Philadelphia metro area, we can see here that the median price is up month over month and year over year, anywhere from 4 to 12%. Now let's go over some of the subtitles within this article and break down everything that they're saying to compare it to our market. Starting with the housing inventory outlook. So whether an article or a news sector is talking about inventory, whether that's national or more local, what they mean is when it comes to a balanced market means that there are 6 months of inventory. So that means if there was not another home to come on the market, that it would take 6 months for all of the homes to sell. And that's a balanced market. Well, we haven't been in a balanced market in many, many years. Things are certainly getting better and more of a leveled market, closer to that 6 months, but unfortunately nowhere near that 6-month marker. So the article mentions at the current sales pace, unsold inventory is at a 2.6 month supply, according to NAR, which is the National Association of Realtors. They pretty much control all of the rules and regulations for every realtor, but they also track national data all throughout the country. And that is low compared to historical standards, though up from 1.7 months a year ago. So if we take that data and compare it to Pennsylvania, if we look at the months of inventory for all of PA, it's currently 2.88 months. So if no other properties come on the market, it will take roughly 2.88 months for all of the inventory to sell off. So here it says that inventory levels are still at historic lows, and that is certainly the case for Philadelphia and more locally the Philadelphia metro area. I don't see a drastic rise in inventory coming anytime soon in the near or distant future because most homeowners have a low interest rate. So unless they really need to sell, or if they really have a lot of equity in their current home that they want to free up besides, refinancing, then certainly it would make sense for those sellers to sell. A lot of people are not selling because many cannot afford to sell a house that has a 2 to 4% interest rate just to go and buy a new one with a 5 to 7% rate. So the main reasons for why my clients are telling me that they're selling their homes are for a couple of different reasons. So if they're just planning on renting for a little bit, if they have a second home to move to and they don't really need that other home so they can sell that and free up that equity, or if it just comes down to their family or themselves are just ready to sell, they're not really worried about the interest rate because if they sell at, let's say, a 3 or 4% and then they go to buy at a 6 to 7%, they're okay with that because they know that rates cannot stay at 6 and 7% forever. So whenever rates drop, they'll just refinance. I have a lot of clients doing that or planning on doing that as well. It truly just comes down to the seller, their personal preferences, and whatever their situation is. All right, so the next thing that they mention is, will the market crash? They say that they predict the housing market is more likely to correct itself from the double-digit percentage jumps seen in home prices the past few years rather than crash. I completely agree with this. Some markets throughout the country have seen 20, 30, 40 plus annual appreciation, which is crazy. I don't believe that the market will crash, but I do believe that some markets will correct itself to get closer down to normal average appreciation levels. The markets that appreciated most, such as Arizona, Florida, Texas, North Carolina, etc., will have the largest drops in appreciation because those were the markets that appreciated the most over the past 2 to 3 years. So here they mention some housing markets could see some sales and price growth, particularly in location where homes prices have remained affordable over the past few years in relation to median income. Some markets, believe it or not, will probably see prices continue to increase. So comparing this to to Pennsylvania as a whole, and more specifically the Philadelphia metro area. First, PA as a whole is a lot more affordable than most of the surrounding states, which is why so many people are moving here, not only from the West Coast, where it's significantly more affordable compared to there, but also some of the East Coast states that are a lot less affordable compared to Pennsylvania. So now comparing it to the more local Philadelphia metro area, this specific area is what I consider a very steady market. If you go back and look at how this area was affected during past recessions, it never really took too big of a hit compared to other states, specifically a lot on the West Coast and down south. So that's due to the fact that we have a very slow and steady pace of growth here in Pennsylvania. We don't have the huge high and low crazy markets like other areas do. So looking back over past recessions and over hundreds of years, Pennsylvania holds true to be a pretty steady place to both invest and own a home. I just personally believe that this area is just so secure of a market because of all of the amazing universities, colleges, hospitals, and the amount of large companies that we have here just in our local area. And more specifically in the Philadelphia metro area, we have some of the best school districts in the entire country. So that brings a lot of constant people looking to relocate. Maybe they just got a completely remote job so they can work from home wherever they live. And let's say they want to move to a great affordable area, but also with an amazing public school system. Most likely they'll be looking in the Philadelphia metro area because we do have some of the best schools throughout the entire country. So next they mention, will foreclosures increase in 2023? The article says it seems clear that government and mortgage industry efforts during the pandemic, coupled with a very strong economy, have helped prevent millions of unnecessary foreclosures. All of the mortgage forbearance programs that these mortgage companies put in place during the pandemic have helped so many people that were out of work during the pandemic. I'm assuming that most other markets all throughout the country are similar to Pennsylvania in the sense that homeowners that maybe could no longer afford their mortgage or afford their home, or just needed to sell for other reasons, could just sell on the market because they had equity as opposed to needing to foreclose. Because of the constant increase in home prices over the past couple of years, a lot of homeowners had a ton of equity. That was certainly the case here in Pennsylvania. I unfortunately had a homeowner that needed to sell because they just could no longer afford the property that they were in. But instead of going towards the foreclosure option or getting anywhere near it, they could just sell because they had over $100,000 in equity. So yes, it's obviously a shame that they needed to sell because they just could no longer afford it, but they also did not have to get a foreclosure and go through all of that. They could sell and actually make out with a great amount of money. In Pennsylvania, that still holds true in most areas. As long as the home is priced accordingly and in a great location, it should still sell for a great amount of money, which will most likely give them the ability to sell on their own terms instead of foreclosure. Since Pennsylvania home prices are staying steady and increasing, I don't see any reason for why Pennsylvania homeowners would need to foreclose if they had equity and they could just sell it on the normal market. So next they mention when a buyer should buy a home in 2023. It says buying a house in any market is a highly personal decision, which I completely agree with. I have a lot of potential buyers coming to me and saying, well, when should I wait to buy? When is the right time to buy? And I always say that buying a home does not depend on the time of the year or depending on what the market is currently doing, but instead on your own personal preference and your own personal situation and where you're at currently in life. As long as you personally have the funds for a down payment and obviously you're financially stable enough to purchase a home, then it really depends on you. It depends on your family situation. When you personally want to move to Pennsylvania, whether that's because of a relocation, a retirement, a change of scenery, and so many other options, but truly as long as you're financially set, it really comes down to you and your personal decision. Whenever you're ready to start the process, that's only when you should reach out to a realtor such as myself, and I'd be happy to help you get started on the process of buying a home here in Pennsylvania. Whether you're looking to buy or sell a home in Pennsylvania, or more specifically the Philadelphia metro area, I would love to help. All of my contact information is below. Next, I'll see you over on this video, which talks about all the things that you need to know before moving here.